I was just in the locker room after the 49ers lost to the Rams 42-26. Saw Fred Warner in there on his knee scooter talking to Trent Williams. 49ers defenders also having some conversations after the Rams absolutely eviscerated the back seven of that San Francisco defense. Brock Purdy update. He might be back next week against Arizona. A little bit more from Kyle Shanahan in a bit, but Brock is definitely making progress. We need to sum up this game, though, and put this into big picture context, and I think there's nobody better to do that than George Kittle.
I mean, we started the game off with a punt, a fumble, a fourth down turnover, a touchdown, and a punt. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, since I've been back, is that our team is going to have to rely on our really good veteran offense to score a lot of points and not turn the ball over, and we didn't really do that today. And so I think that's going to be the case moving forward. Our offense has to play at an incredibly high level. We have to score a lot of points. We have to not turn the ball over. And I think our defense is going to get better and better throughout the week because we still have a lot of young guys. We have a lot of guys missing. But we have to help out our defense. And that's the way the season's going to go. Our offense has to play at a high level, efficient, not turn the ball over, score points, score in the red zone, and then we'll win a lot of games. But if we're not doing that, that's going to happen.
The strategy mandate is clear. 49ers offense, in situations where the defense is very understandably overwhelmed, is going to have to go score for score with opposing offenses. And they weren't able to do that today, not because of a lack of yardage. Mac Jones, 33 of 39, over 300 passing yards. I thought that he was fantastic, especially considering his QB2 status. They were wearing out the middle of the field against this Rams defense. By the way, LA had only given up 20 combined points over the 3 games entering this one since they lost to the 49ers. They gave up 26 today. So big picture, the 49ers offense moved the ball, but where they failed the defense was at high leverage spots. Juwan Jennings with a big fumble in the first half.
You want to see another fumble? How about that? What's that? You want to see another fumble? How about that, man?
And then there was a fourth down where the 49ers ran Christian McCaffrey to the left side. I do not think that was a good play call from Kyle Shanahan at all. But we talked about the fact that the Rams have the number 5 run defense in all football. I know San Francisco faced an elite defense against Houston a couple weeks ago, but the Texans, they had a little bit of a weakness against the run. The Rams didn't. And the Rams, when it counted, smothered the 49ers on that run to the left side. Those 2 plays, that fourth down stuff and the fumble that we saw from Juwan Jennings, that took away potential points. The 49ers were in Rams territory twice, and they came up with 0 both times. They were down 21-7 at halftime. So it really helps contextualize what George Kittle was saying. If the offense pulls its full weight, doesn't turn the ball over in that first half, they have the firepower to go score for score with the Rams. They're still going to get guys back, too, moving forward. And that's where we have to zoom out to the big picture. Where exactly is Brock Purdy in his recovery right now? Kyle Shanahan said that he could have made him QB2 today, that Purdy was technically healthy enough to do that, but Shanahan did not want to insert him into a game where he'd be one hit away from having to come in because the 49ers are trying to avoid one very specific outcome.
He could have gone, definitely. I just decided to hold him, not put him in that situation.
Probably never going to be 100% again this season. Is there, at some point, do you just have to play him knowing that he's not going to be 100%?
Yes, it depends on how close to 100% he gets. Our dilemma, or what we're trying not to do, is put him out in the situation we did versus Jacksonville 5 weeks ago or 6, whatever it was. So I do believe he's closer and further along than what he was at that time. So hopefully he'll have a chance this week.
So remember that Purdy missed 2 weeks early in the season with a turf toe, came back against Jacksonville, aggravated the injury against Jacksonville, still fought through and finished that game. But the 49ers, this is what they're trying to avoid because, big picture, they're 6-4. This is not a bad record. This is not a bad team. It's a bad defense right now with the injuries, but they obviously still have offensive firepower. They've got a game at Arizona next week, then a Monday Night Football game here at Levi's Stadium against the Carolina Panthers. There still is a lot to play for if you're San Francisco. So they need to not have a quarterback yo-yo situation going on. They can't bring Brock Purdy back only for him to have to be yanked again because he aggravates his toe. They need to find some continuity on offense so they can seriously put up this 30 plus a game that the poor defensive performances are demanding that the 49ers put up. So Kyle Shanahan said, that's our dilemma. We can't have Brock come back just so he's yanked back out. He did add, though, that Brock Purdy is in better health right now than he was entering that Week 4 game here against Jacksonville. And that gives him a legitimate chance to return, again, on natural grass next week against Arizona. So we said that this would be the opening of the window for Brock Purdy, the real chance to play on natural grass here, Levi Stadium against the Rams. That was true. Didn't quite come back this week, but the chance should be even better next week back home in Arizona. The last thing the 49ers can have is a quarterback yo-yo, because that is going to ensure that they stay on the win-loss yo-yo. Ever since Week 3, the 49ers have followed the pattern of win, loss, win, loss. The team with a decent offense, bad defense. It's been inconsistent on both sides of the ball for obvious reasons because of injuries, but it's evened out to a 500 record. They're still over 500 because of the wins that they stashed early in the season. But now they have to find a way to elevate this to above 500 play so they can find their way into the playoffs, and I think that could be the most valuable thing for this football team. Here's Kendrick Bourne, in only a way that Kendrick Bourne can explain, talking about the 49ers need to get off the win-loss, win-loss, win-loss yo-yo.
We just got to respond better after wins. I think that's what we're learning. I feel like we get too relaxed a little bit. After we win, you kind of smell your own junk a little bit, so it's tough. We can't really be like that, and I think that's something that we're learning.
Above all, the 49ers need to maintain a process-oriented approach. They can't freak out that the way that social media fans are going to freak out after a loss. This is just another chapter of the novel. You got to realize that you've got an offense that was able to put up 26 points on the number one defense in football. One step at a time. I think that Mac Jones illustrated that the best.
I don't know. I don't really think about scoring points. I think about doing my job on each play, and those come with doing your job. If you can stack up good drives and get it down to the red zone, then you get a chance. Obviously I want to score points, but I'm not sitting there thinking about that. I'm thinking about doing my part, and I think that's how we can be better. When all 11 guys do their job correctly, then the points will come, and I know we want to get to that 30-point mark, and once you do that, you feel pretty good as an offense, you played well enough to give yourself a chance. So definitely want to continue to grow in that area, but it starts with execution in the process, really, over results.
And then the defense, I saw Fred Warner talking to Trent Williams. Obviously, those are two bigger picture leaders of the team, so they're not talking about defensive specifics. But there was a moment there at the end when Tatum Bethune, at the end of open locker room, the place was almost emptied out, and I saw Tatum Bethune come over and start talking to Jair Brown. And, this is where we could discuss all the things that went wrong for the back seven of this 49ers defense. He had Tatum Bethune missing tackles, Jair Brown missing tackles, neither guy really wrapping up. There was that play where Bethune and Mustafa were trying to come in on Kyren Williams, and they both bounce off of him, and a loss turns into a bigger gain. And it was a first down at the time for the Rams. Not good football, not good coverage on the back end for San Francisco. I mean, one of the big headache plays for the 49ers was that Devontae Adams out pattern. And he's open within 2 seconds. So the pass rush doesn't even have a chance to get to Matthew Stafford. That worked against Malik Mustafa in coverage. I think the 49ers are definitely going to pursue a safety this offseason. It almost seems like they have two strong safeties in the setup. And, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing, because the Rams went a lot of three tight ends today, and the three tight ends took advantage of the 49ers' lack of size, and they have Upton Stout out there, who's not the biggest player, but then the Rams also were able to take advantage of a lack of speed, and then the back seven just didn't communicate for the 49ers. They were trying to get the dime packages in this game twice, and both times it resulted in them having 12 men on the field. One time they were able to use a timeout. The other time they were penalized for 12 men on the field. I mean, it just was bad stuff communication-wise for the defense, bad coverage, bad tackling on the back end. I thought that Renardo Green was too soft at times for the 49ers again. If anything, the pass rush was actually decent. And it's funny because everybody wanted the 49ers to trade for another pass rusher. That wasn't the problem today. There were a couple, here are the two big issues for the defense. Run defense, which hadn't been a problem up until today, but the Rams ran it well in the first half. No Mykel Williams, no Alfred Collins for San Francisco. That's a problem. Both of those guys, and there's silver lining there is that the two rookies, those are obviously both first-year players. When they were in, the 49ers had improved from number 29 to number 6 in run defense. And if you fall off a cliff in run defense, you're going to lose control of the game because the opposing offense can run all of its action off of its running success. You have to dedicate more resources to stopping the run. Matthew Stafford is going to have free reign looking downfield. The blitzes that come in as a result of that rushing success are going to be what burn you against the pass. The 49ers, as bad as things had gotten prior to this game defensively, at least the run defense was number 6 in the league. That's the bedrock. Losing Mykel Williams and Alfred Collins, the two rookies, led to a complete fall off the cliff of the run defense early in this game and allowed the Rams to just march down the field 3 times. So, I expected 400 yards of total offense. I predicted that. It's on the record in the video. I thought, though, the 49ers could hold the Rams enough in run defense to put Matthew Stafford into some more challenging, desperate positions to where maybe he would throw one of his patented picks to the 49ers. He almost threw one. Ronaldo Green dropped it. That would have been huge for San Francisco before halftime. So I said the 49ers had to catch their interception opportunities. I think there was only one of them in this game, which they dropped, and in large part because they didn't play the run defense that they had to. And that was a personnel issue for San Francisco. I do not think that lack of a pass rush was a particularly glaring issue for the 49ers today. They got the sack from Keon White. I thought they got good pressure today from Bryce Huff. I think that it was mainly a coverage issue for San Francisco, which is why I go back to the need for better safety play, maybe the need for better linebacker play. I talked about Fred Warner being in that locker room after. He's on the knee scooter. He's obviously not able to play. Maybe you have to induct Fred Warner into the Hall of Fame now because what he was able to mask and really bind together with his, not just his play, which is obviously excellent, but his communication abilities on the back end is being sorely missed. Here's what Tatum Bethune had to say.
All our losses, we just gotta get stuff going. We gotta execute, and we understand what happened during the game, and we already know what needs to be done during the week in our preparation and communication. So, and it was a bad game, but we were still kind of in it. Towards the end, we kind of let it go, but that just showed hope, and it shows fight throughout the team. So, of course, this is going to make us stronger, and we just got to learn from it and get better.
So, it is what it is with this defense, with who they have. They got a couple more pass rushers. Keon White obviously has juice. The pass rush did have some juice today against the Rams. They're going to have to move forward without Mykel Williams. At some point, it's just too many losses to stomach. Robert Saleh will employ whatever smoke and mirrors he needs to employ over the rest of this year to scrounge as much as he can from this defense. And some improvement should also just happen naturally. You take your lumps during games like this against a really good quarterback, a really good team, a really good offense like the Los Angeles Rams. But ultimately, the realistic way to appraise this season, and this is what we've talked about for weeks now, especially after Warner went down, but I think this goes back to when Nick Bosa went down in Week 3 against Arizona on this field. 49ers have been the number 26 defense in all football since then, so it hasn't been pretty since then. Offense and special teams have to be the two ringleaders for the 49ers. Like that's the locomotive that pulls the train. And the 49ers will get whatever improvement Robert Saleh can scrounge out of this unit, but they have to find a way to be an elite offense moving forward. That period. It may not seem fair, but that is the pathway forward for San Francisco. Scoring 26 against the number 1 defense in football is actually a good start, but you've got to hold on to the ball if you're Juwan Jennings. They've got to convert the 4th down. They can't blink the way that they did today, and then Mac Jones blinked with a pick in the second half. For as fantastically as Mac Jones played, he doesn't have the mobility of Brock Purdy, and when there's as much pressure as there is on the offense to deliver, that's a problem because you need a quarterback who could run around and create a little positive chaos for the offense. So we're going to keep our eyes on Purdy's potential return, Ricky Pearsall's potential return further down the road, Brandon Ayuk. The 49ers have another weapon at their disposal with Brian Robinson Jr. He's gotten more comfortable running for the 49ers in this outside zone scheme. I mean, did you see when he just took out Nate Landman, and in the backfield it looked like he was going to get tackled for a loss, but scored that touchdown. Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, both fantastic players. George Kittle, obviously a great player. Demarcus Robinson made a catch today. The 49ers have firepower on that offensive side of the ball. Now they have to make sure it is harnessed on a week-in, week-out basis consistently. That's going to have to be the driver of this team moving forward. I mean, nobody can illustrate it better than George Kittle. We started the show with George. We can finish the show with George's take.
Yes, I do. Like, I think we're incredibly talented, and we have guys on offense coming back, like we do. And like what our left guard, we had Barch and Burford play. So like whoever figures that part out, and we'll get some solidify. Yeah, let's go solidify. Solidity. Thank you. And so like that will lock itself in. And again, like Mac's been playing so well that people are like, oh yeah, controversy, stuff like this. Brock Purdy's an amazing quarterback, and that's why we paid him so much money. And then whenever we can get Ricky and, hopefully at some point Brandon back, like we have a lot of talent on this offense. And so I thoroughly believe that we can score a ton of points. And I really do also believe that our defense will just get a little bit better every single week. I truthfully do believe that. And they've just been taking haymakers year round with all the injuries. But I do. Saleh's such a good coach. He's going to bump those guys up. They're going to get some stops. And we just have to continue to score a lot of points and not turn the ball over. And our special teams is still playing really well. Like Sky Moore he's got a house one here soon. Him and Brian, they're both doing a great job. Thank you.
Hey, we passed the ball pretty good. I think Mac was like 300-something yards on 5 or 6 incompletions. So, yeah, I mean, of course, just like people gear up for our run, like when they come in time, you gear up for the pass rush because that's your strength. So, then we were just up for the challenge.
Mac, his first start was New Orleans, and that looked pretty good. So it's hard to say, like, I don't know, is it fair to say, like, he's more in command of this offense now, or he's growing each week as far as in command of?
Yeah, I think that's what to expect. They come into a new system. Literally just got here this year, so yeah, I think this system has a lot of moving parts. So I think the more game reps he gets, obviously, the more he's going to be comfortable with the offense.
You guys fought hard, but how tough was it to try to go back from that 21-0 deficit?
It's pretty tough. I mean, we got to one score, and we didn't help ourselves, so you can't expect to beat a good team when you play a part in beating yourself.
Well, many guys have said, you guys put yourselves as far as mistakes, but obviously you don't go out there with the intention of making mistakes. What do you think kind of contributed to those today? Was it lack of communication?
Who knows? It's a very intricate game, and a mistake could literally be an inch. So who knows? We'll go back and look at the film and see where ways we can get better. They made a good play too. On Juwan fumble, they ran to the ball. Obviously, we like to hold on to it, but I mean they made a great play. What do you say about that? Obviously we lean on Juwan heavily, so we continue to do so. But they made the right plays to win the game.
One of the great plays, that 4th and 2 that they stuffed Christian. Was the Rams do anything there special on that play? Caught you guys off guard?
No. I think it looked like it was a good bounce read, and Zero just came off at the last second, made a good play. So, no.
As far as the overall outlook, I mean, you guys are still 6-4. Another division game next week. Is this an easy one to kind of flush and still feel like you're very much in it with a lot of season to go?
No, I mean, it's not an easy one to flush. It's a rivalry, and we lost at home, so that's should stick with you, right? But like you said, we got a lot of season left to play. Obviously, we got another division opponent. We got to go there, so we of course we got to stay confident and stay in it. It's definitely not over by any stretch of the imagination, but this one definitely stings a little bit.